It kind of sucks to be good at something. In surfing, like they have kooks, but I swear it's funner to be a kook and still like want it. And so once you get good and it's like nothing's ever good enough.
Welcome back to StabMic. How you doing, Dane?
Good. How about you?
Not bad. How are you feeling after your return to competition?
Glorious.
So
I didn't know what you're talking about for a second.
For those of you that are just listening and don't follow the American Board Riders series, Dane came and surfed out for Ventura this weekend. I was surfing for Venice, but he dropped a 9.5, double whammied it for 19 points. Almost got his team back to the first place, but they ended up second. But
It's a very generous score.
it was a generous score, but you were surfing in the 40 to 50 division, which was like coupled with a couple old dudes that surf once a year. There was so many people that were so psyched to surf in the water with you out there.
That's
Everyone was
cool. I
buzzing.
actually, I've come to those a few times when like the waves were so miserable, it, like wasn't really like cool to hang out. But Veers asked me to come, so I surfed a heap. But this time I hung out for the whole thing. It was actually pretty damn cool. I thought, just like Half Moon Bay got fourth, and they're just saying how psyched they were on the whole program and how just psyched they are doing it and coming down. And it's like a father-son duo. And I don't know. I kind of like got the camaraderie and thought it was actually really sick. It's cool that those guys are putting that together and seeing Dylan getting all competitive and Veers and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, Dylan works hard at Perillo. He runs the whole Malibu team. But one of the things that I didn't expect to see was, have you ever claimed in a competition? Because you claimed on.
I think I've been double whammy in that thing other times as well.
Okay,
I've definitely done some double whammies. Yeah.
only claims you'll ever see from you.
Yeah, likely.
But yeah, it's a cool event, and I think who won? Northern LA Board Riders, Ventura's second, and fuck that one poor guy in the 30 to 40 division that I surfed with, because Venice only had one team, so I just surfed for the full hour. And one guy from Half Moon Bay came down and he paddled out with 2 minutes to go and didn't even get a wave. So he had driven 9 hours
Yeah,
and didn't catch
Veers
a
didn't
wave.
get a wave either.
Yeah, but he had opportunities. He
Yeah.
had time. This poor kid had 1.5 minutes left.
I know. Veers has wanted me to come for Santa Cruz for them, and it's like crazy to drive 4.5 hours for like one opportunity, really. But
Because you
the
started off-
camaraderie is cool, though. I thought it was rad. It's cool to see everyone care and want to win.
And you started off having a shocker because you get 3 waves and you basically got 20 minutes a person, but your first 2 were just like closeouts and mush.
It was stressful, and I rode a brand new board because my knee's been a little sore, so I haven't really been surfing. And I showed up, I saw 3 feet of south on the buoy, so I thought that City Street would at least be kind of fun, and it was so gravelly, so I grabbed a dumpster diver that was made for me, but way bigger than what I'm normally riding. And my first 2 waves were terrible, and it felt really weird and quirky, and I was stressing out that finally like a little chip would come to me and I'd just bog, and I had wasted so much time. Veers just standing there putting his arms up in the air. It's the whole thing stressful.
It's so stressful. Every time I like commit to it, and then the morning of, I'm like, why did I put this on? And I put the jersey on. I'm feeling like a little kid again, just about to get yelled at by my dad or someone.
Do we have a replay of your wave? You ripped one?
Yeah, I only got a 7.5 though. It was a good wave, bad surfing.
No, you surf good.
Yeah, but I heard you on the mic too. With the commentary.
Yeah,
You really are leading into this podcast a commentator.
guess so.
Yeah, it's working for you.
I can't say no. That's my problem.
That's right. We got Moggs on. Moggs is probably starting or had just started 5 minutes ago. Any picks or servers you think will do well at Moggs? Like you've surfed that wave a bunch and you know the kind of surfing that needs to be done.
You know, I don't know what the forecast is like, and I don't know
It's
what to
pretty-
expect. It's like,
4 to 6 foot, kind of wobbly, comes some bad winds. It's pretty rough, but you might get that good air wind on the right.
you'd have to say Jack Robinson's got definitely an advantage. I doubt he surfs there often when he's at home, but probably grew up surfing, amateur events there, and has surfed it enough and knows that air wind and stuff. I'd have to guess that he's probably a favorite in Ethan Ewing.
Yeah,
I don't know that I've seen Ethan Ewing surf that right too much, but I'd have to guess those guys are just so good. I'm sure they all can kind of unlock all the weirdness of it.
the smooth gorilla. Everyone's been saying that needs to be your
No.
next board model.
Sorry.
Either the smooth gorilla or the squirm whale. They were saying they should call your next board the squirm whale.
Sorry, Ethan.
Yeah, but a Bet Online picks has Jack. I think is the favorite, and then Griff, Italo, Geordie, and Ethan. Those are kind of the favorites for Moggs.
Thanks, bro.
Jordy's hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean George won last year, but he's not the favorite to win this year. So I mean,
What was it like when he won last year?
it was like 1 foot, maybe 2 feet kind of. But I mean, the event had good conditions throughout. Just the final day was tiny and slow. He beat Griff in the final. So, and then on the women's side, Gabrielle O'Brien, she just won bells. She won last year. So, I mean, it would be hard to get past her, Molly out there, and obviously Katie.
Interesting.
Have you seen much of Gabrielle surfing?
Medina?
No, Gabrielle O'Brien. Gabrielle O'Brien, sorry.
Man, I'm sorry. I don't want to derail this, but did we watch her last week?
No, we didn't. She's not a rookie, but she's incredible. Just a powerhouse natural footer. Just, just
do we have some
more
clips?
spray than most guys. All right, yeah, check her out. This is Gabrielle O'Brien. She won bells and she won Mogs last year, so she'd have to be the favorite for Margaret River. But just see how powerful she is.
Solid surfing.
Yeah, she hammers it, man.
Where's she from?
From Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah.
North Shore?
I think Maui.
Oh, okay.
But you can just see she's full powerhouse. She jams it every time. She goes hard.
Taj is coaching her for this next event.
No way.
Yeah.
Sick. I like Taj's return to the spotlight.
He said it's been like so sleepy in West Oz, and then the tour comes to town and his life just turns into pandemonium. Everyone's trying to get him to do promo stuff, and he's coaching. And
Taj would be getting hit up by everybody when he's in town.
Coach, you think?
Oh, I just advise, hang out, surf, row down. Taj still uses a travel agent. Like when he wants to get an air ticket, he literally goes to a travel agency, drives over there, gets his flight booked, and rolls in with a paper ticket.
I'm jealous of that. I'm bad at booking my own stuff. It's like I remember. I mean, I'm sure I think Sean Walker still does it, right?
Yeah,
I
he's still doing it.
Email Sean Walker and you get your ticket and don't worry about connections or anything, and just show up.
I just did all the booking for Mikey and the whole crew with Sumbum. Went to Fiji for that swell, and I was booking like 11 people's tickets, and it was just a disaster. Flights were getting cancelled. Oh, it was the worst 48 hours of my life trying to get everybody there. Boards didn't arrive. We had to fly somebody else over with more boards. So, yeah, I'm going to be going back to a travel agent again.
Be nice.
All right. We've been talking about bells, and one of the more controversial things that happened at the event was this heat between Italo and Gabriel Medina. And Italo did this psycho tweaked out air where the wind caught his board, and then Gabriel did this kind of more polished one, but Gabriel ended up getting the highest score, and a lot of people felt that it was scored a little low. So we thought we'd bring in somebody that was actually there, our expert panel, and a massive Italo fan, to make the call. My big brew, my boss, Jordy Smith. There he is. How's it, brew?
Thanks, bro. The massive fan, bro. Hey, Danger. How you, my bro?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Back in the West.
Yeah,
it's not a bad joint.
Were you surfing the comp today? Right when we were starting this, Dumo was saying it's starting, huh?
Yeah, I started there running the girls this morning, and then I'll probably surf this afternoon.
Sweet.
But I'm stoked, bro. I'm stoked to jump on it with you guys.
Yeah.
A couple of washed up dads trying to sell the world some fucking load of bullshit.
We got to do a legit one though. Seems like this is just a quickie, I think. But
okay.
Good to see you, dude.
Danny, you got that clip
You
for us
too.
for George to make a call? All right, here we go, George. And the question for you is, did Italo get underscored for this wild air against Gab, or was Italo robbed? And are the judges allergic to innovation?
What did he need?
He didn't need anything then. It was just they both had 2 scores coming in. Gabriel's had a couple like cleaner maneuvers before and a cleaner air, but Italo did that wild air at the time. What do you think?
I mean, the athleticism in it is incredible. It's just hard, I think, when you start everyone's trying to get everything done super clean. And I don't know, maybe in like snowboarding or skateboarding, like can you land back halfway down the ramp and lie back and then stand up, and do they kind of call that a make? I know that you like landed, but I don't think they kind of classify it as or like really well executed. But then you could say the same thing about a layback. And you go and do a layback and just lie on half of the wave and then stand up, and they're like, well, is that a good turn or is it just a mistake corrected?
Well, let me ask you, which air would you have rather done, Italo's or Gabriel's?
Can we pull up
Yeah, I didn't
Gabe's?
see Gabe's
I actually
either.
didn't even watch the Heat.
you and Dane both. Hey,
I'm a huge fan.
Dane returned to competition this weekend.
Oh,
Got a
come on.
9.5 on his one wave. He's back.
It
No way.
would have been a 2.35 in the CT.
I thought a 4.5. No chance. He was surfing against Gavin Dogan though, so they had to juice him a little bit.
But I mean, yeah, it's so hard. At the end of the day, this is just freaking surfing. It's so hard to say somebody's better than the other. It's just opinion based, 5 people's opinions. And to be honest, they're judging from so high up, anyways. So at Wikipop, they're judging like from a bird's eye view, almost, from like a drone. So it's really hard to see how high someone gets above the lip, or if they go out, or whatever the case may be.
That's
I
interesting.
always trip on that.
Did they get
I'm like, hey, why wouldn't you just look at the it
beyond the
straight on?
shoreline?
And yeah,
Did they get a replay from like shore level?
I think they got one like way down the way, but they use the angle, the judge's angle to rewatch. They don't use. Yeah,
Pretty funny just thinking how far competitions come, because I remember being like 18 or 19 or something and doing the Pipe Pro, and all the judges were at Aukai and they had no replay from backdoor. And I remember going on backdoor waves, getting the tiniest little head dip and getting 8s. And I was just like,
Just holding your arm in.
like, oh, this is easy.
yeah. But it's just crazy how far competitions come since then.
Yeah,
Can you believe?
no, it has.
Can you believe George is still at it?
I really can't believe you're still at it, dude. I'm impressed, and that's some serious motivation and determination, and I'm stoked for you. And it's cool to watch you
Thanks, bro.
still grinding. It's cool.
Got to teach these Roms a lesson every now and then.
Yeah, smack them around, kick them in the nuts.
No, but it would be sick to actually have you at an event. Maybe get like come to J-Bay, like a specialty event. Maybe they'll get
Oh man,
you back in there for a couple nines. You can hammer me again.
I got so lucky in a heat against you. We've talked about, but the luckiest heat ever.
Is this the Gabe's one?
Okay, so this is Gabs. So he had a couple nice turns, kind of just like trimming, a little stuck behind there. And then just a nice clean air reverse.
Again, look at that angle. It's pretty high up,
Yeah, it might have been a small air, right, from that angle. And then here's Italo. But he did have a couple turns before that.
Italo had turns before this?
Yeah, he had a few turns before that.
Okay. Yeah, it's tomato, bro. Like Italo's air was more tweaked out, but the landing was definitely not as clean. And then if he's done turns before that, it's kind of matched maybe Gabriel's turns.
Well, which air would you have rather done?
Well, it depends. Like, I don't know, my back would have blown out landing Italo, so maybe Gabe's.
What about you, Dane?
I mean, Gabe's looked like one that Matt McCabe could do at C Street to me.
Jesus, kicking your buddies while they're down.
No,
If you want likes and comments on your Instagram, you want Italo's.
It was a stock standard air that lots of kids are doing,
Totally.
with their eyes closed these days. Italo's at least had some flair and whatever was unique. I mean, there's definitely what Jordy was saying, where there's an argument to landing cleanly versus laying back in the whitewash, but at least his was like kind of tweaked out, upside down, kind of off axis.
I've been watching a couple of the guys' clips that they've been doing here at Main Break over the last few days, specifically Gabe and Italo. And a lot of their airs, they've been landing that same way, like that lay back kind of in the face and then stand back up. And it's like it's like a full safety way to keep your board there and get back up. Not that I can do that or anything like that, but it seems like it's the way to confidently land without like crazy impression on your legs or on your body. You can like land and lie back and then get back up and stand up.
Almost a bit of a safety mechanism, right? Like you land half laying down, that water, especially if you're in the kind of curve of the wave, it's going to push you back up if you have the core strength.
And then you see guys like I don't know, Yago's been really on it lately. We're just kind of sticking it, call it like skateboarding, we're just on the bolts, poof, just landing it so solid. And Philippe does a similar thing too.
It's in transition, like, yeah.
Awesome, bro.
Damn it.
Well,
seems like we got to be Brazilian to do these things, bro.
we'll talk
You gotta
about
shrink a little.
Yeah, you're
Some
too
sort of
big.
shrinking potion.
I'm going to start licking lettuce leaves for the next month, bro.
Before Snapper.
Yeah.
All right, bro. I know you got to surf today, so good
Thanks.
luck and get it. Thanks, bro.
Good luck,
All
dude.
right. Thanks, hey, boys. Good to see you guys.
Cheers. I'll hit you after.
See ya.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro.
I don't wear a watch to know what time it is. I wear a watch so people know that I'm the type of person that knows what time it is. And the watches I wear are Veyer, designed in Venice Beach by a couple surfers and made to be worn in the ocean. I've had this one for 5 or 6 years and absolutely thrashed it, and it's still going strong. And you too can have a Veyer watch. Check out today's episode with Nate Fletcher, and the best comment on StabMic.com or YouTube will win a Veyer watch. I'll be selecting it with Dane next week, and in the meantime, go check out VayerWatches.com. That's VAER watches.com, and it'll be the last timepiece you ever have to own. We got an epic guest today. Nate Fletcher is joining us, and we'll have a good chat with him about a bit of everything in Nate Fletcher's world.
Sweet. Is he coming on now?
I think he is.
Oh,
There
am I
he is.
sideways?
Yeah, you're a little sideways.
I was, yeah. Hold on, I gotta, boom. Is that horizontal? Just press the X.
Nice. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Welcome to the show, Nate.
I think everything's working.
Hey, thanks for jumping on the show. Where are you right now?
I'm just at my house in my front room.
Yeah, in Hawaii?
Yes, sir. Hawaii.
And how's it shaping up post floods? Last time I spoke to you, it sounded like you got pretty hammered.
Yeah, it's post flooding.
Heavy.
So yeah, we're doing it. Manual labor is not my forte, that's for sure, but neither is interior decoration.
Looks like a lot of damage. That sucks.
It's terrible, but it's good. I'm stoked. I got rid of so many unnecessary things and stuff I would want to clean, but I would just look at it and walk by it instead. So it's all clean now.
Maybe I need a fire or a flood at my house. Get rid of all the kid shit.
The only thing I lost was all the pictures and magazines from my whole life, which was kind of a bummer, but I guess I didn't really need it. But yeah, like moto stuff and I don't know, just random stuff. Just stuff.
Yeah, sorry, man. That's a real bummer.
It's all right.
Hey, when was the last time you guys did a trip together? Or have you ever done any trips together?
We went to Mexico that one time. I seen you in Costa Rica with Bruce once. We tried to link up.
Yeah, that was a good. That was a college try. It's a lot of effort, no results. Yeah, we went to Mexico, and that was cool. Al Cleveland was just a little kid, and
yeah, that was cool. Al was like 13 years old, already charging. It's pretty cool to see him doing what he's doing now.
Yeah. What are some of the earliest memories you guys have of one another?
Oh, actually, there was another trip. We did a Quicksilver trip to some photo shoot in like San Luis Obispo, and then
I remember that.
We ended up draining the pool. Me and Donnie Barley and whoever, and there was a pool at the house, and yeah, it was kind of fashiony with some skate element, and the waves were cold and miserable.
That was like Quicksilver days when Nadas and Mark Oblo would put together photo shoots and bring together like Danny Fuller and Dylan Reeder and you and whoever else. And those are cool. Cool mix of people.
What's happening with you, Duma? What's a good word?
2 kids, work, the regular, trying to battle California waves and escape as much as I can. But that's it. And sitting here next to Dane and chatting to rad people like you.
Hang out with Michael Oblowitz?
Oh, man, I see him everywhere. I'm not going to go into it, but Michael's the guy who made Sea of Darkness, and he made Nate Fletcher's movie. And he's a South African film director, but just a wild maniac. So
Yeah.
It's a good running joke, but in a good way.
How's the waves been? I heard it's been good.
I actually went to Mexico for that last like south swell, and it was pretty average. And then see on the Instagram and stuff, it looked like it was pumping in California finally. So, but made a poor choice. You know how it goes with that. But
I heard one of the guides was all hectic over there, huh?
a guide?
Yeah, I
That got to you?
Yeah, it did.
What happened? Tell us.
Oh, nothing
not.
nothing hectic happened. I've been going to the same spot for like years and never needed a guide. And then I showed up this year and they told me I couldn't surf without a guide. And then my buddy, who's like one of the first dudes from Watuco that was surfing all the spots, kind of got involved, and I felt bad that he had to get involved, and then just was weird. It was just a little bit of a weird bummer because it was a spot I always used to surf that's uncrowded and not a big deal. But that's funny you heard about that. It was totally not a big deal, and we worked it out. It got squashed, but yeah, it's a little different every time you go down there.
Yeah,
I understand too. I don't want to like interfere with anyone's business. It's all good.
yeah, things are moving fast and changing fast. It's so crazy, like going to Indonesia and seeing the difference of what it was and what it is, and anywhere where there's really good waves, it's like so different.
Is there anywhere left in the world that you can go surf without a million people and guides and surf resorts and all that, Nate? Or anywhere you're looking at?
I mean, would I really tell Stab if I was looking? But no, I look at all the
Yeah,
places.
tell the world where you're looking at that's uncrowded.
Yeah, it's a hard go. And the other thing is all the pricing. So you used to surf and go on a surf trip, and you'd get a deal because you'd go to the end of the earth and nothing was really there. And so it was like you could go to these rad spots and kind of on a budget or a surfer's budget. And now it's like all catered for rich people that surf as a hobby, but they work for their living. And so it's like $5 coffees, internet service, and all this stuff. And you're like, wait, what happened to the surfer?
$5 coffee sounds like a deal to me.
When was the last time you were in Indo? Because I haven't been for a while, but I've heard it's escalated rapidly, and your locals are charging to block for waves now, and like it's turning into.
I was there in October, I think, and it is a total different experience. I went for the first time in '87, and then I went obviously like in the '90s and then the 2000s, and just the amount of growth, and even like to the Mentawais in the late '90s, where after the crossing went with like Braden and Dicko, and I think it was Ross Clark, Tom Carroll, Taj. But it was like, oh, it was just so far in the middle of nowhere, and then making it like maybe a year or two later when there's 5 boats or 4 boats and all the Mentawais, and then like seeing it now, and you're just, whoa, it's crazy because there's land camps, there's boats, there's coffee, there's international airport. It's just so far beyond what you would have ever imagined at those times, and that's only in say 25 years, really.
Yeah, I went to Indo 2 years ago to the Ments, and I don't think I'll ever go back. It was just 10 boats at every wave, land camps. It's chaos, man.
But when you first went, could you have imagined that or no? Because I couldn't.
No, first time I went when I was 14 years old on the Indies Explorer for 2 weeks, just sailing around, and you'd surf a lot. I mean, we surfed HTs one day. I think it was just Kobe out there, Todd Morcom, and a couple of guys and us. And you could surf macaronis at free will. And now you've also got to pay, or have your boat booked in to be able to go and surf there. So, I mean, it's good that local people are making money and there's businesses happening there. But unfortunately, I think most of the camps are owned by, not locals. And I mean, like the Kandui resort crew, they really look after all the locals, and they bring kids from all the different islands and built schools and all that, which is really rad. So they've done a really nice job there. But I don't imagine everybody's doing it like they are.
No. It's pretty interesting. It's just geared towards people that work and have made this success and then found surfing later in life, and then now they want to go to all these crazy spots. And so the surfer is kind of just whatever, out budgeted.
I always joke that it's kind of awesome but sad at the same time, but we got to live our lives in reverse. I feel like I've already lived my retirement, and I imagine especially for you two, just at the level you guys were at, like the things you got to do and place you got to go. And it was kind of like the best time ever in surfing Whereas now, if you're starting out, obviously everything's significantly more expensive. It's way more crowded, and that's I joke that I'll work till I'm dead now because I got to pay for my sins early on. But we did have that, especially you, Nate. You're a bit older too. Had the best era of surfing too.
Yeah, I feel fortunate for sure. I just don't know how to do anything else to, work till death. Like you said, to pay for my sins. But fact being, it's like it was really nice, and I try and my scale of appreciation has gotten way lower. So I'm like stoked to just see the sunset or the beach, and obviously, like you're never going to get the wave of your life again, and so just try and do it like you're not working towards something that is a possibility of just great pleasure. So when you're maybe in your early 20s and that, like you could surf 3 times a day, you're getting better. Like the next week, you're even better than the last week. And I feel like after 40, you could just surf as much as you can, but you're not getting better. It's just slowly, and so your scale's going down. So trying to take, I guess, the mindset of like the small wins, where you're stoked just to be able to go to the beach and you're stoked to see all the kids. And that's another thing too, is watching the kids and what they do. And it's weird to even say that, watching the kids, but they surf so good. Even yesterday, just watching Luke Swanson surf, and pretty, average to below average surf, and what he was doing and how hard he was ripping and the power that he was exerting. I was just like, that was pretty amazing, because before I felt like it was a big deal. And that was something too, where even my brother, like doing chop hop to like a fakey varial thing. And I was like, oh, that's so lame or ugly. And then seeing Dane do like a varial off of a closeout where it was real similar trick, but it was actually the proper way to do it. But you could have never done it without the really small and ugly version. So it's pretty rad to see the evolution, in my opinion, on where surfing is, and how where surfing is, and the level and like the experience that these kids are getting at such a young age, and their wave knowledge, and it's pretty rad.
Yeah, who are some of the best kids coming up that you've seen? Whether it's in the pool or in the ocean, and like I'm talking more like Luke Swanson, and those guys are pretty well established names already, but on the younger, kind of lower level, kind of 15 and under.
I was just with Zachy Taylor and doing some stuff with him, and I've known the dad for quite some time, and his brother David Taylor, when they had the Cadillac dealership, and they gave the Cadillac to Jay Adams, and he had like a $70,000 Escalade that we used to cruise around in, and then he smashed it and black markered it, and he wrote "Who gives a fuck" where he crashed it on the car. But yeah, seeing Zachy just in the pool, and then we went down to South Padre Island and watching him surf, I feel like he was definitely at a really high level. Obviously, I'm aware of him, and I've seen him surf, and but watching him, he was, he kind of has the full package of surfing in waves, surfing in the pool, and that was pretty cool. And
yeah, here's a little clip from your guys' trip right here.
Is this from our trip? Oh, wow.
How old is
he?
He's just turned 11, so he
That's
learned to
insane.
surf. He's from Texas. Isn't that incredible? He learned to surf in Texas in the pool, and he surfs a little bit in the ocean, but mostly in the pool out there. And he's done, I think, 3 stab highs already. So he's been around it for a while, but just a super cool kid. And Nate, what is, at that age, you can usually tell who's having fun and who has something different. What is, where does Zachy sit for you?
Well, to be honest, I have kids that are 10 and 12, and Zachy's 11. And Zachy is an 11-year-old kid, and it's really cool to see. To be honest, he was around 5 adults for 4 days, and my kids would have never gone for that. But he was very good spirited, and wasn't whingy by any means. He definitely has a high level of like ambition for himself. He doesn't like to fail, and so it could it's hard to say it can go either way, but he was a very good sport, and he was super fun to be around. And just to watch a kid that age do what he was doing was, not like over what it's just, you're just like, God, I suck. That's all you could think, but at the same time, it's cool to see like where the future's going. And that's another thing too, is like when, they've had the first stab high, I remember walking up and then seeing a little kid with long hair bust this air, and I was, oh, that little guy just blasted one, and they're like, oh, that's not a guy, that's a girl, that's Sky Brown, and I was like, oh, damn, I'm done. But every time is kind of a revelation. But Zachy was a really good sport. He was fun to be around. He's an 11-year-old kid with all the talent in the world. So
how does a kid that's 11 and already doing such incredible surfing not burn out? And these child stars often, they don't transcend and continue. So what advice do you have for the young groms that are already surfing like that to continue their progression through into their 20s and later on?
I mean, I wouldn't have any advice to anybody. I know what I do with my kids, and if there was any advice to be given, it would probably be to parents and not children. I think the best recipe for a world champion in what we've seen in our day and age is, a broken home. So broken homes seem to like mold the best athletes because they're hiding from whatever it is on land and escaping what their land reality is. So
I think my parents got divorced too late. I think they needed to have a traumatic divorce when I was a bit younger for me to maybe have been something.
That is really interesting.
Well, what do you think, Dane?
No, I mean, it makes sense. Like, doesn't work for everyone, doesn't make everyone a world champion, but it definitely makes some unique people that have a certain drive that other people don't, to try to, whether it's the attention or the glory or whatever it is. Yeah, just some sort of crazy drive that you don't get if you grow up with a nice, comfortable environment. I'm no psychiatrist, but I totally get that.
Can you make it? Can you make it if you come from a normal family then?
Well, of course you can, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, when you look, but what's normal too? Like my childhood, I thought was totally normal, and now that I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's not too normal. I try and provide a normalcy for my children, but we're definitely different than our neighbors.
What are your kids into?
Well, both of them are just totally different. One's into like doing wheelies on his bicycle. He likes his, motorcycles. He's all up to date on all the stats on Supercross. And, so this is interesting, but I think it's weird because there's some sort of dynamic with coordination where some people get things sideways. So, for instance, I think some people are they have that natural coordination, like standing up, going down the line, or skateboarding, and that's really weird when they skate regular and surf goofy or whatever that whole deal is. But for instance, like riding a motorcycle, you're parallel, so it's like the difference between a skier. Some guy might be a really good skier and a bad snowboarder because his brain thinks sideways or whatever, but it doesn't think like maybe that's linear. So
yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting.
I've been tripping on that lately. So, and my younger one, he's into surfing and skating, and he's 10 years old. He's in 4th grade. So we're just coming up into these years of like having your mind be blown, or my mind be blown. So everything's different. The way they talk, what they're into, and technology. They know so much before. Because I was pretty advanced as a child. I was coming to the North Shore with my friend who was 18, Terrence McNulty, like when I was 12. So I was traveling and I was experiencing anything that anybody else was experiencing, but also having to like get the house locked, dealing with the pipe house, which was a whole nether dimension of gnarliness from, Johnny Boy and Dane and those guys, being a 12-year-old from California, Herbie's kid, but then also there was Jerry and the crazy factor, which nobody talks about, the pipe house, was Jerry's mom. Her name was Fumi, and she was a school teacher from town, and she would come out to the house, but man, she was pretty, on point and on your ass. So it was a little different, than what's happening, but the level of like knowledge as far as what goes on social media and what's happening is pretty weird. So they know so many things. My kids don't have a phone, so they have an iPad, which is whatever it is. But the reason we do that is so they can't put it in their pocket and take it everywhere. So they are on a device, but not like full time, and it's a really tricky road to navigate, to be honest, because I feel like if you're not giving them any technical or any, devices, then it's like a late bloomer syndrome where they just totally go all crazy for it. And then if you give them too much, they don't know how to manage it. What about you, Dane? What's your feelings on parenting and?
Oh, dude, I don't know. It's complicated. It's tricky. My kids are a little younger than yours, so I totally could foresee how at 12 years old, when like all their friends are getting phones and whatever, how that starts getting real tricky. My oldest is 10, and I have twin girls that are 8, and none of them are on phones or anything yet, or even really iPads. But my kid's super into boats and wants to Google boats all the time and look up, research boats and boat hulls and outboard motors and all this stuff. So it's like getting into that phase of him wanting to be on the computer and absorbing knowledge constantly, because it's all just at your fingertips now, and it's really trippy.
And that's the thing. There's so much good, and they can learn so much. So it's like there has to be some sort of balance, but you can't trust like an 11-year-old to make the best decisions all the time. So, and then it's like, and then the other thing is too, like we didn't have anything for a while, but then they go to the skate park and look at somebody else's phone that's 15, and then they're being influenced by that. So I like even tell my parents, you guys had it so easy as far as parenting, in the 70s
and then you
80s.
think about how much you were exposed to at that age and how that crafted you, and like, I don't know.
Well, that's what
it's different, similar, but different in a way. I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to ask you, Nate. Like you were talking about, kids coming from, divorced homes, and you obviously had John, Mick, and Kelly who never had relationships with their dad and ended up being wildly successful. But I wanted to ask you a bit more about your childhood, Nate. As you reflect back on it, what was the biggest difference in your family compared to other families? Because you got two pretty eccentric parents, and they were pretty plugged into what was going on in art and culture and more.
Yeah, I'm just so thankful. And I think my parents were really young too. And then they had this guy, Christian Fletcher, for my older brother, who was definitely doing stuff that, and I've said it before, but like even on his bicycle, I saw him do a backflip on his bike in the lot across the street when he was probably 12. I was maybe 7. So Christian was supernatural, super opinionatedly confident. And my mom would tell you there's 2 kinds of kids. One you put in a playpen, and one you got to put the playpen on top of. So, my childhood my parents were really loving. Both of them were really loving. So I think good intentions and loving goes further than anything. My dad was definitely really radical in a lot of ways, and different than most of the other parents. He was always innovating. If it was traction or movies, and he would take us to the skate park and be like, "Oh, kids are doing air skating. You guys got to skate," and influencing us, but not only in surfing and kind of life, and taking us to concerts. So, we did a bunch of different things. My dad had the Cabo contest with a bunch of different bands like Alice in Chains, and Les Potts, who was an old surfer and brought all the surfers. Kelly's first contest, I think he won, but then he had like Johnny Boy and Dane there as well, and Kelly and my brother and myself and all these musicians. So that was, 91, and I think 92 he did it. all the trade shows, which were out of control, being a little kid and starting at whatever age, going at like 6 to Long Beach and then all the way through till probably San Diego when they ended them. And that's another thing that I've kind of said, but I remember being a kid going to them and then a young adult going to them. And then it was like, oh, now there is no trade show. And I remember being like, oh, you got to go to the trade show. So lame, blah, 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 being in the midst of it all. But now I look back and it was such a time where surfing was just flourishing. There was magazines. It was like who got the cover at that trade show. People were signing contracts. There was so much culture happening. If it was, Jimmy Z to Black Flies just starting to, I mean, I've said it before, but everybody from Greg Knoll and then to Wee Man, everybody in between. And it was just such a rad time. And now that it's gone, there's no trade shows, there's no surfer pole, there's really not many places for the culture and surfers to have like a bonding experience, to learn, some of the history, to meet people, to create relationships that last, So everything's just so different. And I guess it is the time, but when you look back on it now, you're that was insane.
Do you think we could ever get back there, or are we too long gone?
Oh, I have no idea on that. I think, to be honest, there's going to be some sort of second, because everything pendulum swings or everything comes full circle, 30 years. People have all these statistics. But I think what's coming now is, I was saying it earlier too, but like, it's going to be like this rich side of surfing. And with these wave pools, it's going to be people from cities and towns that never had surfing. And I was, thinking about it, but nobody ever works their whole life and then finds skateboarding and just dedicates their life to skateboarding. It's like one of those things where you're a kid, but all these people, if it's Google, if it's different people, like they work their whole life super hard and then they find surfing and they're like, oh, and they buy a boat or they go on these extravagant trips. And that's what I was telling you earlier, is that's what it's kind of catered to in different spots.
And then Raymana props them up on a soft top and they get a pit in their first session.
Yes, and that's the best thing going on Instagram. I love that.
I love it too.
It's like he's just like, clips. No, brother, you're good, or Doja Cat or whoever he's doing, but it's the best.
Ivanka Trump or someone.
Yeah, but it's funny too because he would do that at Teahupo'o when he was a kid. Like we stayed with him the first time I went, and he would be like, "Oh, brother," and yeah.
I remember watching Bones Brigade and feeling really sad that something like that could never happen again, where you've just got these kind of 5 degenerate kids that come together and have this common interest and, end up becoming superstars and changing the way people rode skateboards. And now with obviously social media, that can never happen again.
What was your like first passion between surfing, snowboarding, skateboarding, motocross? It seems like you kind of had careers in all of them at some point, but where did it start?
It was surfing, and you know what? To be honest, I just did everything because it was fun, and I'm a true believer in having fun. And it kind of sucks to be good at something because then you have all this self expectation, and so in surfing, like they have kooks, but I swear it's funner to be a kook and still like want it. And so once you get good, and it's like nothing's ever good enough. So not that I had a career really in any of them, I just could do them all proficiently. And with surfing, I kind of burned out at like 13. And that was because I was on this thing where my parents were who they are. I surfed a bunch. I went to all the contests from before I could ever surf in a contest. And then because an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old are so much different physically. But because we were there with my brother, I was involved, and there was just so much going on with that. And then snowboarding started to happen, and then skateboarding, and then I got into moto because all the snowboarder guys kind of got into moto too. It was all at these times when things were just starting, and then that's how I got to go to Teahupo'o because I rode for Gotcha Europe, this guy Kenny Jacobs, for motorcycles. And then he's like, oh, we're going to have this Tahiti contest. Did you want to go? And so I ended up going to that, and then my life kind of changed from there, but I was 21 or 22 or something at the time.
That first gotcha contest though was like 8 to 10 foot chopu, right? So that was after motocross, that felt relaxing.
Not relaxing. Definitely the final day was out of control, but there was just a lot of different things happening in my life to where I was really in a kind of a fuck it attitude. And so, yeah, it seemed like I was just like, I'm just going to go. Well, the whole thing was I told myself I was going to make it through the second round of the trials. If I didn't make it through the second round, I was going to go back and just keep working at Astrodeck. But if I made it, I was going to try and surf. But then just kept making it randomly. But then it got real big, and Johnny Boy was like, he was in the heat after me. He's like, oh, what are you going to do? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I got a 6.5 or 7.5. I'm going to ride my 7.5 and catch a bomb. He's like, oh, at least you know something. Every set was getting bigger. And so I rode my 7.5, and then kind of forget who was in the heat, but like DDA, a couple guys, but everybody was on like 6.6s or whatever. But when the swell's going to be that big, it's just moving so fast. And so first the horn blew, and then the first set came, and it was like the biggest set of the day, and nobody won it. I was kind of out of position, or not out of position, but I wasn't jockeying for priority, and I just realized nobody won it. So I turned around and went, caught the wave, and pulled in nice and easy, and got spit out. And they're like, oh, Nathan Fletcher 10s. And I was like, in my head, I thought like Slater and Machado, and those were the only guys who get 10s. And it was pretty rad feeling because everybody in the channel, like, you know, if it was Chava, Andy, Bruce, Braden, Brock, Noah John, all these people, Sean Briley, you know, so I got the wave of my life right there in front of everybody, and everybody was screaming because I was kind of an underdog, and everybody knew I hadn't been around. So I paddled out, and I was last in line, and then the next set was even bigger, and I was kind of watching, and then everybody didn't go again. So I turned around, and I was going, and I was a little bit maybe more on the West Bowl part of it because I wasn't out at the peak behind it, but kind of thought about just getting the wave of my life and blah, blah, blah. And then didn't hesitate, but just things took a while. So all of a sudden I was like in the lip kind of, and I'm like, oh God, I'm just going to go. I'll, you know, for getting the wave of my life, I'll have to eat shit of my life. And then got to the bottom, and then, you know, caught my rail barely, and then pulled up into it. And from having a little bit of, you know, hesitation or thought go through my head, it made me too late, but then caught the bottom turn, and it put me in a better, deeper spot, and then on a bigger one. So then I got a 10 again, and so I got 2 10s in a couple minutes. And right there, Michael Thompson was on the boat from Gotcha in Grushka, and right there I started getting paid.
What was it like riding for Michael Thompson? Michael was played a huge role in my life, and part of the reason I am a citizen these days. He got me my first visa and helped me out when I moved over here. But you would have had those glory years with MT and those Gotcha days.
I mean, Michael Thompson was great. He was a visionary, really stuck. You know, when you look at all the Gotcha stuff, the MCD stuff, it's a little different than what was happening. And, you know, he definitely went hard, and it was kind of the rock and roll lifestyle, art, surf. You know, he played a big role in Andy's life, your life, my life. I can't thank him enough for believing in me. You know, even Kenny Jacobs getting me there, and then Michael Grushka, because he kind of orchestrated the deal. But yeah, bless his heart. You know, he passed away, and he did a lot for a lot of people, and he saw the good, and you know, some of the different people that might have not gotten the treatment that they deserved. And you know, he took care of Andy. I don't know if that's good or bad, but Michael, Derek Ho, Brock, a whole list of people. If you look at that, what's the name of that group ad? It's like Mothers or something. It has Archie, you know, who was a big influence too to me. But it had Mike Stewart. You know, the one team ad. Come on, Duma, you're a facts guy.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
Jack didn't do enough research. No, I know the ad you're talking about, but I cannot remember the name. But I've got
Yes.
the old book there.
Yeah. So yeah, Michael Thompson did it his way, and he did it good, and it went hard, and I guess burned out fast.
Yeah. You come from an iconic family. I mean, from your dad and your mom's side, and then obviously what Christian did. Did you feel a lot of pressure growing up to live up to the family name?
Yes, in some ways, and then that's going back to that question of why did I skate and snowboard and do these things, and that's why I deviated was because of the pressure. I ran from the pressure and just kept it fun. So yeah, the pressure made me definitely do other things where I didn't have pressure, but it also forced me to have a lot of fun and create all these lasting relationships that maybe I would have never got otherwise if I would have just surfed. And a different
Do
approach
you
to the
wish
wave too. So I don't surf
Yeah, I think we all can recognize that.
like anybody else, and good or bad, it's it is what it is.
In the recent Thrasher doc on Grayson, your mom says that being in the Fletcher family means to live in a gene pool of cool, but it means living with every bag of shit that comes with it. What did she mean, and what bags of shit was she talking about?
Yeah, see, that's the research I'm talking about. No,
There you go.
she's just stating facts, but who's to say what is cool and what is not? So, her opinion, she can have her opinion for sure, but what I think is cool is probably not what somebody else does, or thinks is cool. And, I'm just going to say my mom is so loving, and she has dealt with so much shit from so many generations of surfers. And she definitely, has lived through my grandpa's era, my dad's era, my brother's era, my era, and now with Grayson. So the gene pool cool thing is kind of a hard one to like accept or swallow, because I don't like to think of that as us is that. But the bag of shit I can definitely attest to. So for my opinion, I just can't thank her enough for putting up with myself, my brother, and giving us this life, because everything from the food she made, the snacks she made, from the places she brought us to the shit she endured from other parents taking us out of school in seventh grade, or me in seventh, and all this stuff where it wasn't trending to be like a homeschooler. So the other, she dealt with a lot from other parents. Oh, why do your kids do that? Why is Christian doing this? Oh yeah, he just did that. Why did you have a mohawk? And says, fuck you on a surfboard or whatever. And she'd be like, I don't know, I can't tell you. So, from parents to schools, everybody trying to intervene with their opinions and standing strong. I can't thank her enough for her and my dad, but staying in their lane and being true to what they believe in. And it's really hard to be an innovator. So on that note too, how hard it was for my dad to talk people into telling them that traction on their surfboard was cool or going to be what it is. It was like, how hard-headed surfers are. So my childhood was going, and so say like to the Stubbies contest, 1982, Burley Heads, nobody would have rode Astrodeck unless, or traction in general to this day, if it wasn't for my dad going to the contest, going to see Michael Ho, Rabbit Bartholomew, Chappie Jennings, all these guys taking the wax off their board, acetoning the board, cleaning it, and then putting traction on it for them. So then they would go out and surf. Like, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I just got a new free tail pad, blah, blah, blah. It was like my dad going, oh no, you need traction to do more radical maneuvers. Let me clean your board for you, blah, blah, blah. And so that was my dad's whole thing, was to help the sport progress, was to have this rubber. And the way he made it was, he first made it in San Clemente. He would have to pour the rubber and do I can't even go into all the details, but he would make it himself on sheets of plexiglass, Then he would have to get the glue and glue it, then cut it out. But first it was full deck, Astor deck, where you cut it on the rail. And so, gosh, it was such a mission. And then he's like, okay, I got this product that he believed in more than anything, originating surfboard traction. So he's like, how can I pull this off? So then he's like, okay, if I make movies, and this is all film. It's not like, oh, everybody has a handy cam. This is Super 8 film. It has to, you get a 3-minute roll, and then you have to have a photographer that went to film school that knows aperture, knows exposure, knows color correction. So first you would bring the guy around, then they would go film. My dad would draw a circle around the photographer and say, I'm going to bring you lunch. Don't leave until I tell you to, because as soon as you leave, somebody's going to do something and you're going to miss it. So you'd have to babysit the photographer, babysit the surfers, get the surfers down to the beach, make them surf in front of the photographer, then take the film back to LA, get it developed, then transferred onto Beta. Then for the rights, he would have to go up to LA, make the music in the studio with different musicians, and make Wave Warriors. And the reason he made Wave Warriors was to be able to give the surfers some publicity. So then it made all the surfers want to be in Wave Warriors, and to be in Wave Warriors, you had to ride Astor Deck. So the amount of work and things that he did just to get this traction going, and then obviously it was creating, a whole industry, or not an industry, but inventing a product that is now like a staple. There was so much that went into it, and it was so like by the seat of the pants and so DIY. And that's the other thing too. When they were growing up, they didn't have trunks. They wanted trunks. My mom had to make the trunks. If they wanted a board bag to travel, my mom had to make the board bag. It was, it wasn't like, oh, I got a 30 board quiver. It was like I had one pair of shorts. He would go to Honolulu and surf, bring all this stuff to patch. So he'd surf in the morning. His board would get all dinged by lunch, come in for lunch, patch his board up, all killer, and then surf the afternoon. And then by the end of the day, the board would be done.
Jesus. But it feels like a bit of that innovation rubbed off on you, like especially when it comes to surfboards. I feel like you've pushed surfboard design, you and Stretch, and I don't know who else you used to work with prior to that, but you've pushed it pretty heavy. Yeah, Cole.
I've done whatever I've done. I was just kind of like just going off of what the childhood was, and I had no choice but to be who I am. And if it was flotation, definitely nobody was wearing any sort of flotation. I was laughed at. People thought I was lame for wearing paddle vests and forefins, and obviously like the bright yellow forefin at Mavericks, Doc Reneker, they weren't too stoked. About
4 or 5 years ago, I saw you on the beach and in front of George's house at Log Cabins, and we're having a conversation. And I think I'd surfed Waimea that day. It was or shoulder hopped it, and you'd asked me how it was, and I kind of said to you, I'm done with big waves, and you had said, me too. You were done too, and I was like, I think like 6 to 10 feet is kind of the range I want to surf in, and you were like, fuck that, I just want to surf 4 to 6 waves. I'm done with all that big stuff. How did you decide that, or how did that decision come about for you? And have you followed through with that, or you still have any interest in surfing big, heavy waves?
Well, I think my nerves decided it for me, to be honest. And then the amount of experiences that I've had where if it was, catching the same wave, riding the same wave Malik died on, dealing with Scion dying, myself, drowning in situations, but not drowning, not being resuscitated, but having like outer body deals going through rocks. And, it's your ego and your common sense like to argue with each other. And I feel like, how do you know when it's time? And why would you know it's time? And so before, I was super excited, couldn't wait for what the day would bring, couldn't sleep because I was so excited, because different places were going to be 12, 20, whatever size. And then got to a point in my life where it just changed to where I was real nervous of what the day was going to bring. So it went from the lack of knowing of what the possibilities are and just being stoked to ride these crazy waves to being like almost sick to your stomach worried about the swell because Jaws was going to be 30 feet, and then being like, oh gosh, and so it's like that kind of deciphering, like, oh man, is somebody going to die? Am I going to get hurt? And then having children on top of it. So decided, because I have nothing to prove, and the only reason you do it is for this rush. And I like rushes. I like adrenaline. I've always been driven to it, but it's a numbers game as well. And so I'm like, why am I doing it? Am I doing it to like be like, and I'm like, no, I don't really care what anybody or how's Nathan going to be the happiest? What would make Nathan the happiest?
Yep.
And I was like, I helped set the bar, I feel, in some ways. I helped drive the pace of where people are, but you can't do it forever. And why do it forever? And,
Unless you're Twiggy. Twiggy seems to be doing it forever. It's incredible.
It is incredible, and hats off to Twiggy. But, I'm not Twiggy. So I
well, he started a lot later than you did. You had a longer range. He just started later.
And then there's like, when are you satisfied? Are you insatiable? Why do you do it? And so, I don't have to. And why would I do it if I don't have to? And I'm nervous, and it doesn't give me that much joy like it did to have this crazy rush. I don't know. It's a weird one, but I don't put too much thought into it. I just try and, that's the thing. I've always followed my heart, and I'm just true to my heart.
Dane, do you ever have any desire to surf big waves?
No.
None whatsoever.
No, I followed my heart before entering the surfing big scary situations. I honestly never, for me personally, just I don't know water safety. As soon as people are out in like inflatable stuff, paddle vests, I'm kind of like, all right, maybe this is like there's a little gray area, but maybe this is at my, I don't know. I on a different level, like pushing myself for a certain amount of time and then get hurt so much and just, I don't know, kind of stay in my lane. And there's so many gnarly people out there that are willing to put so much on the line. And it's like, why? I don't know. There's no sense to what Nathan said. I don't feel like I don't feel the urge to prove myself. But it must have been an awesome feeling, though, tackling some fucking scary waves.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's the other thing, too. Everybody does it now as well. And it's not like the unknown. Before, you'd paddle to the outer reefs, and it was like the complete unknown. Nope, maybe a handful of guys at the most out. And you were just out there and dealing with Mother Nature. And it was so great. And now you go to those same places, and there's, so many people, jet skis, just all the blow up suits. And I'm not saying anything wrong, because safety is a huge issue, but it's not like the unknown. And it was such a great time. Right after the tow surfing kind of maxed, and then paddle surfing was unknown again. It was rad, because nobody had like their equipment, and they weren't prepared, and it was kind of like everybody was caught off guard, and there was all these empty waves. And it was at the forefront of something, which seems to happen a lot in my life. And then once it all happens, I'm like, I'm done.
Hey, Nate, and everyone else, I want to bring up some waves from this year, show you some recent stuff, and get your take on it.
A little PTSD for you, Nate, going back and reflecting. But here's this wave of Lucas Chumbo from Cape Salander a couple days ago, or hours. But yeah, for those of you that are watching, check out his Instagram. It is just bananas. But your 2011 wave at Teahupo'o, that code red swell, and the speed that you must have been, it reminded me of, the speed that he's going underwater here must have been pretty similar for you once you wipe out and you're going at that speed. Watch this.
Yeah. To be honest, Lucas Chumbo is a freak of nature. And I remember the first day when he showed up to Mavs, and his ability on a big board and big waves, I remember seeing him taking off on the double up. Oh God. With the whitewater on his back. But then he was
for those of
doing
you listening and not watching, sorry, Nate, just for those that listening and not watching, it's this wave that Lucas gets out at ours that he doesn't make, and it washes him right up and over the rocks. Like, I'm talking all the way up to where his buddies are filming.
But that's normal at ours. They love it. The Aussies think that's funny.
Yeah, they are all laughing
Yeah.
right now. Like, fuck yeah.
Did deeper water waves or shallow reefs and slabs scare you more? We've got a few more, but what was your preference, or was it just when you're in that mindset, you're going, it doesn't matter?
I didn't really like the deep waves as much, to be honest. I like, I'm going to say the ideal wave is Teahupo'o. It's what it really, if you're going for it. But the rush is at all the waves. I love Mavericks, Jaws, all the outer reefs. I liked Big Porto, sandbars, Tavarua, Big Cloud Break. This Mulligmore stuff, though, this is on another level. Is this the other
This
guy?
is Nacho Gonzalez, the wave he got. He said it was the ride of his life at Mulligmore. And that looks like something out of Cloudbreak.
Bigger, gnarlier, colder.
So no desire to go get some of that action?
No. I'm happy that people are doing it. I can take my glasses off. They're fogging up from just the anxiety.
The PTSD kicking in.
I mean, it's pretty epic that you're a part of the evolution of this, though, in my opinion, just of making these waves paddleable.
Nate Florence strikes again. So
Yeah.
he called this the Headless Horseman. This is a big wave at Eileen's that he gets and just knifes it under the lip at the last second.
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because when Fergal, if anybody knows who Fergal is, him and Tom Lose, they showed up on the analog team. And Fergal's from Ireland, and we took him out to different spots and pipe and stuff. And he's like, it's too crowded, mate, or however they talk. But then he's like, you know what?
Close enough.
I'm only going to surf in Ireland. He's like, I can't even surf until my feet go numb anyways. This is absolutely crazy. Nathan's crazy. It's crazy to see where he's taking it. But anyways,
what about
I didn't believe him. I was like, what? You got better, bigger, gnarlier waves? And then it took about 10 years to start seeing all this other stuff pop up. And I'm like, wow, he was right. Like, why would you ever come to Hawaii if you got Mulligmore and all these different waves?
But just the amount of exposure Nate and them are, and Tom Lowe and those guys are doing, they're in a different country every other week, charging and putting themselves on the line. It seems insane. The amount of big waves and heavy water that they surf in a year is mind-boggling.
Yes, it's a numbers game too. So, but it happens to the best of them. The gnarliest guys are still, not invincible. And I could say I pray for all of them to come home safely. But if you look at Mark Fu, Todd Chesser, Sion Molosky, Jay Moriarty, Malik, it's real. And like Mark Fu says, you want an ultimate ride, you got to pay the ultimate price.
Does it blow your mind that more people aren't dying in these kind of waves? I mean, I remember a couple of years ago at Pipe, I saw you on the beach and you were baffled at how many kids were out there with helmets, and you had a bit of a problem with all the groms with helmets on out there and just kind of this false sense of security versus like working your way up the lineup and just kind of straight to charging because that's what's being seen across Instagram and everywhere else.
Well, I just think that, there's a bigger play at hand that we have no control of. And I feel like you should live your life to the fullest. And I don't think I had a problem with it. I was just taken, I was a little bit by surprise to see where it's at. And, the parents and the level of like, for the lack of support, like they're like, like it's kind of like world champ mindset. Not everybody's going to be a world champ. There's only one Slater out of 8 billion people. And that's another thing too. I was going to say to Dane, like when we're talking about big waves, he was just blessed with one of the greatest abilities to ride a surfboard. So he doesn't have to do what other people do. And it's cool to see what he's done and not try to veer because of what's maybe expected. So that was one thing that I didn't get to say earlier, but
not many people though, like have really, I mean, Kelly to a certain degree, but not that many guys who are into the performance stuff have gone to the level of Mavericks and everything, you know? Like,
no,
two different
and
worlds.
that's another thing too. Like I was going to say, blessed or cursed with one of the greatest abilities on the surfboard, but that's why you see Shane Dorian, who was such a great high level performance surfer, how it crossed over into his big wave surfing, you know,
Yeah.
because his make ratio on the drops and all that. And, you know, I think like Lucas Chumbo, that's what I was kind of saying earlier, is when I saw him the first time at Mavericks and he was taking off on a second reef, double up, whitewater, and getting up halfway down the face because the whitewater was pushing on his back and then standing right up and then grabbing his rail on the bottom turn. I was just like, whoa, this guy's next level.
That's actually something I haven't thought about all that much, is because you just see like clips online of all these guys charging jaws and stuff, but actually being out there and seeing who's positioning themselves deeper and making make rate and like setting lines differently and stuff. It's probably a different world, really seeing it up close and personal like that. And is Shane, in your opinion, like top level big wave surfer as far as that goes?
I mean, I would probably say unmatched in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But obviously there's going to be kids and coming up. You know, it's interesting too seeing guys like Kai Lenny, you know, who he has a really high make ratio and he comes from so many, you know, whatever it is, wing foiling or sup foil, kite board, I don't even know. But when he gets on those waves in particular, he just performs so well. So I'm not saying there's a right way to get to it, but it's definitely changed. And I feel like that little era right after the toe thing, but before the, you know, when paddling was just coming, there was, you know, obviously Shane was in a league of his own, in my opinion.
Final question: do you believe that the moon landing happened?
What do you mean? Do I believe that there's even a no? I think they went to Burbank.
That was a laugh. Oh, we had this conversation in the bus in Japan.
What do you think, Duma? You're a facts guy.
I believe in the moon landing. My father-in-law, he works at for Boeing, but NASA and SpaceX, and he just built the crew capsule that went on Artemis 2 and 3 that will eventually go and land on the moon, but the one that just went around. So I believe it happened.
I believe it happened too. Then how about that?
Okay, there you go. But hey,
I'm in.
I shouldn't have scratched that wound. I did that with Taj Burrow in Fiji, and it was a mistake.
No, you know what? Whatever they're doing, it's more power to them. I just know that
more power to them.
They had to refuel more than once to get there. So hopefully they got a good gas station on the way.
Yeah, actually,
Nathan, I remember on our trip to Mexico, and I just remember this because it actually does make a lot of sense in my mind. But you had been like going to church because you had like young kids, and
oh yeah,
and you were talking about the Bible, and you're like, you know, it just kind of makes sense, just only if you throw some aliens in the mix.
Yeah, right. It all makes sense.
I just love that.
Which we are. That's why we're here. We're the aliens, but we're humans.
Yeah.
That's what Devo said.
Aliens exist?
What did Devo say?
Kelly's an alien. No, I think some are more alien. I don't know. Who knows?
Devo says God made man. He just used a monkey to do it. So there you go.
Awesome. Well,
Nate,
I enjoyed
this time. I I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for your time.
And
grateful.
We've got a gift for you. I our first sponsor and my favorite watch brand, Vea Watches. They give a watch to every guest that comes on the show. So thank you very much. I'll send it over to you. Text me your address. And this thing's made to be surfed in and thrashed. It's actually designed for people like you that actually go outside.
Hype it up, Duma. I'll get back to you on all our other business endeavors.
Yeah, me and Nate are going into biz. I'm buying Astro decks, so stay tuned.
Nice.
Thank you guys. I enjoyed it. I
Appreciate it, dude.
Later.
Enjoy your perspective and time.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
You're the
Much
best.
respect.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.